Module 9, Salary Negotiations. Once you hear a yes from the hiring company, you know the next phase will be a discussion on salary. At times, it becomes difficult to talk about this without fearing that you might lose the opportunity. If you express your concerns, if any, when negotiating the terms of how much you want to be paid, this should be a time where you need to reflect and think. A lot of people think that if they ask for more time, the hiring managers will rescind the opportunity and you shall lose the job offer. This isn't always true. In this module, you will learn the art of salary negotiations. Remember, nobody minds an open discussion when it comes to finding a common ground between your salary expectations and what the hiring company is willing to shell out. If you get a call from the hiring personnel suddenly and you're asked about your expected salary and you have no figure in mind yet, what you should do is, you should say, "I'm thrilled you want to hire me. Could you just give me a couple of days to think about it?" This will give you the time you need to decide how much salary you would want. When coming up with a figure for your salary, do as much research as possible on how much the company pays for what position is being offered in the market. Next, draw up a list of things that matter to you, including the scope of responsibilities based on the salary, bonuses, vacation time, dental, health insurance, house rentals, car insurance, and others. Go into the next meeting with a pad and a pen and say that you took notes. This will show your seriousness and will ensure that you have a record of what you agreed upon. Also, you will not just know what you deserve, but your recruiter will also realize that the salary offer that he or she should fix for you must have a rationale too. You must also understand the hiring company's constraints. They may have certain ironclad limitations put on them by the company. For example, salary caps that no amount of negotiation can loosen. Figure out when they are flexible, and where they are not. For example, they may be flexible on dates and vacation times, but it may not be flexible on your salary if it's a small firm that doesn't have much money to give anyway. After having gone through the module, you should be able to negotiate your salary. You shall have ideas on how to do research when asking for your pay, what dictates what you are worth, and how you establish your salary negotiations. Lastly, you shall also be versed in how to negotiate terms when policies are hard to take to a consensus. Salary negotiations walkthroughs. So, it's finally the big day. You've decided you want to negotiate with your boss for a raise. Whether it's your hesitation in bringing up this topic with your boss, or doubts about how much to ask for, or how to convince him of your potential increase. The tips outlined here have got you covered. We want to increase your chances of nailing salary negotiations and getting what you deserve. The first thing to keep in mind is that before you have a chance to speak with him or her, meaning that's your boss, make sure that you have a clear idea of your worth in the job market. Based on how much people are earning with the same credentials and experience as you can get a fair idea of how much to expect. Second, make a list in your mind of all achievements and contributions that you've made for the company. For example, a business proposal that you made which helped the company grab a greater market share, or how you helped increase efficiency in the office, and others. If you've been offered a job and the employer suggests a monthly paycheck of 70,000 pesos for you, no matter how high it is from your expectations or how badly you want the job, remember to take time in deciding. Don't be afraid of doing that. Keep in mind that of all the applicants that were shortlisted, the employer chose you because he or she saw your unique skills that have more value compared to the other candidates. Ask for 24 hours to think over the job offer. Not only would that allow you to consider all possible options for a raise, but also prevent you from hastily committing to the lower end of the wage bracket. All recruiters employ the idea of bracketing during salary negotiations with their employees. They would set a figure in their head and a bracket of plus minus 20% off that figure. Their job would be to hire you at the lower end of the bracket, while you would want to try your best to secure the upper bracket of that figure. This supplements the need for time in deciding for your job offer. You might also find it useful to stay calm yet assertive in nature when talking to your employer about an increment. It's always good to stick to a specific number for a raise rather than giving out a range. This helps in negotiating a common ground with the employer if he thinks you are asking for too much and makes him realize that you're serious about this conversation. With that in mind, make sure that you never give them a range when asked for how much of an increment you'd expect. So, for instance, you walk into this room with a target of getting a raise of 10,000, but instead you offer a range of 6 to 10,000. You sound polite. You really wouldn't get that you wanted because according to the employer, you'd be okay with a raise of 6,000. One final advice. Wait for the right moment to bring up this conversation. Don't just rush in through it at any point in time, because that certainly does not give a good impression of you. The ideal time would be at the end of the year, where employees are evaluated based on their yearly performance. So you can use your evaluation sheet to form a concrete argument of your raise. You might also want to keep track of the company's growth record and net profits, because the managers are most likely to reward their employees with a salary bonus or raise during peak periods of growth as compared to periods of hardships for the company. I guess now that you have all the advice you need for negotiating for a better salary, it's time for you to get working on your achievements list. Just stay focused and be realistic with whatever you ask for.